The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. The Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, has confirmed that 5 Filipinos were among those who were injured in the Singapore Airlines flight mishap. They are a family of 3 with a 2-year-old boy, a male passenger, and a Singapore-based Filipina migrant worker. All of them are in stable condition, including the infant. However, the OFW will reportedly have to undergo surgery because of her fractured neck. An aviation official talks about the science behind incidents of turbulence. Here's an excerpt from that interview on The Big Story.
First of all, after this happened, nagulat lahat ng tao because Singapore Airlines is one of the top airlines. It's definitely has a really good record, really good reputation. Does this mean that it could happen to everyone? And dito sa Pilipinas, who is responsible for calling the pilots and telling them na, oh, may turbulence, baka you should reroute or you should avoid this route? May ganun po ba tayo dito?
It will all depend po kasi there are several causes of a turbulence. Basic reason would be the wind in the area. But the wind will be a factor only up to a certain level. Pagka po ang eroplano ay nasa high altitude na, like 39,000 feet, 37,000 feet, medyo hindi na masyadong factor ang wind. The main factor this time ay ang cloud formation.
What happened here was actually identified as clear air turbulence, meaning it happens when there are no clouds. So there were no clouds when this severe drop in altitude happened. So ano po nangyari doon?
We are for that particular flight, the Singapore Airlines flight, we are waiting for the final report from the body investigating it right now. We don't have the complete report yet. Even the recording of the flight itself, the flight recorder, is not yet available at the moment. One thing that we are very, very worried about is the global warming. These particular changes also brings about changes in the airspace. The heat index we're experiencing right now is an indication that we are facing severe weather disturbances.
What are your observations from the flight tower? Or air
I've been an air traffic controller for 40 years, actually. During my early years in the service, we haven't experienced sharp and this lightning that looks like several branches hitting everywhere. But right now, that's the reason we have several red lightning alerts in Manila, even in other airports like Mactan and Davao. It's a different scenario right now when it comes to weather. So matatalim po talaga ang mga kidlat. And one factor po na ganito ang characteristics ng lightning right now is, of course, the heat being experienced by our planet.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Pauline Berzosa. Let's now take a quick look at today's other headlines. The Philippine Star reports that former Senate President Mig Zubiri's bloc is planning to join the Senate minority. The so-called Solid Seven, who sided with Zubiri, are Joel Villanueva, Loren Legarda, Nancy Binay, Sonny Angara, and Sherwin Gatchalian. Over at Business World, the national government's budget surplus narrowed in April as expenditures surged. Data from the Treasury shows that budget surplus shrank by 36% to 42.7 billion pesos in April from 66.8 billion in the same month last year. Senate President Cheese Escudero wants hearings on economic charter change to be put on hold for now. He explained that they need to decide which committee will handle the issue moving forward. Escudero also emphasized the need to prioritize repairing the strained relationship between the House and the Senate. Here's the report.
Though the regular session of Congress is now on break, Senate President Cheese Escudero is planning to meet with House Speaker Martin Romualdez to iron out priority bills that will be tackled by Congress once regular sessions resume in July. On top of the agenda is talks on economic charter change, which remains pending in the Senate. For Senate President Escudero, word wars between the two chambers on the controversial measure must first stop before discussions resume.
Sabi ko sa kanya, mag-usap at magkita kami sa darating na linggo marahil para mapag-usapan una sa lahat ang relasyon ng Kamara at ng Senado na sana maayos, wala nang palitan na maanghang na salita.
The relationship between the Senate and House turned sour due to the push for a people's initiative to amend the Constitution, which some senators believe was started by some congressmen. Lawmakers from the two chambers traded barbs over this. That's why Escudero wants to first repair this relationship between the two chambers before resuming talks on Chacha, which he himself is known to be opposed to. In fact, Escudero says hearings on economic chacha may not move forward for now, as Senator Sonny Angara, the chairperson of the Subcommittee on Constitutional Amendments, has also resigned from the post.
Gaya ng sabi ko, pansamantalang pagpapaliban namin yan para sa ayos kung sino ba talaga ang mamumuno niyan. This is a pending measure. So we have to decide one way or the other how to go about it. But my thrust right now, without consulting yet my colleagues in the Senate, would be to assign it to where it should be assigned.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez says he has already accepted the fact that he and Escudero have opposing views when it comes to Chacha. But Romualdez says he still looks forward to his upcoming meeting with the new Senate President.
Well, tingnan natin kasi hindi kami pa nag-uusap, hindi kami pa nag-meeting. But yung hangarin lang po ng House ay economic reforms and economic amendments. Yan ang pinakamaganda sa demokrasya. Lahat yan pwede pag-usapan, ipupulong-pulong natin, makafocus tayo.
Aside from Chacha, Romualdez and Escudero will also discuss other priority measures of President Marcos. Escudero notes, though, that the Senate will remain independent under his leadership and will not simply serve as a rubber stamp of the administration. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, we are One News.
Senator J.V. Ejercito says the invitation for senators to visit Malacanang was given before the Senate leadership change on Monday. Ejercito, who served as deputy floor leader, was among the solid seven who remained loyal to former Senate President Mig Zubiri. In an interview with One News Storycon, he expressed discomfort about being in the company of colleagues who opposed Zubiri. Despite being part of the Solid Seven, Senators Win Gatchalian and Loren Legarda attended the party in Malacanang.
It will be awkward, no, na syempre, they were the ones who booted the whole leadership out. Kasama na rin po kami doon. Tapos magkakasama kami kaagad doon sa isang party. Ano pong pag-uusapan ho namin? Di ba? Napakahirap naman makipag-small talk doon sa mga taong alam mong nagtanggal sa iyo sa pwesto.
The Supreme Court has struck disbarred lawyer Larry Gadon again. This time, they found him guilty of gross misconduct for committing perjury and making accusations based on hearsay. This is pertaining to Integrated Bar of the Philippines, or IBP's complaint filed against him. IBP said Gadon lied under oath when he claimed that de facto Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno falsified an SC temporary restraining order. Gadon was fined 150,000 pesos and sentenced ineligible for judicial clemency. The presidential advisor for poverty alleviation shrugged off this decision. He said he has no interest of practicing law again. And Miss Universe Philippines 2024 Chelsea Manalo is now gearing up for the international pageant. But who was she before snatching the crown? In the big story, Chelsea said her Filipino mother and African-American father divorced when she was young. She champions indigenous youth education to help them have the opportunities to achieve their dreams. Her ambition of becoming a beauty queen all started when she was a little girl, but she admitted that society's beauty standards were also a challenge. Chelsea, dubbed as a dark horse, bested over 50 candidates in the Miss Universe Philippines pageant.
You know, that it doesn't really matter what color you are, what hair it is that you are representing. If you're being authentic, you're beautiful, you know, you can be whoever you want to be. You can be Miss Universe, and here I am.
And those are the top stories of the hour. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.